Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Pearl Davis is the self-styled anti-feminist influencer who's creating major buzz online with a contrarian view. She's appeared in a couple of debates on this show. It's called Uncensored after all. We welcome any honestly held opinions. But this week, she's facing a major backlash for posting a song titled Why Can't We Talk About the Jews, which she dedicated to far-right commentator Nick Fuentes before later deleting it.
You see her face?
Yeah.
I don't think
she didn't expect that.
Yeah, I don't think Piers told her that this is what they were going to be talking about. She went, because this video.
She panicked. That was sheer panic in her eyes.
Yeah, that was massive panic. Unless, I don't know, maybe she was letting out a fart, but this video has been deleted. I saw this when she put it up.
Even Piers got it before it got deleted.
Low blow.
Why can't we talk about the without getting kicked off of YouTube? Now, I'm not saying Hitler was a good guy, but I kinda wanna know why. Now there's all these conspiracy theories, and the more they talk, I think maybe they're right. But I can't even listen to the convo.
It's just she sat there, she recorded it, she's probably done a couple takes, she watched it back, and she said, yeah, I'm going to upload this.
Yeah, real smart. Now, I'm an advocate for free speech, right? So I think that she has the right to post that online. I just don't think you should be surprised when people come at you for it. I think that it's good to have conversations about all sorts of things, whether you believe in the conspiracies around the World War and Hitler or whether you don't. I think it's okay to have the conversation. But whenever I'm listening to Pearl, it doesn't seem like she wants to have a conversation. All she wants to do is say, I can't have this conversation. She doesn't want to have the conversation because she doesn't bring up any compelling points. Nick Fuentes might. I'm not saying that he brings up compelling points, but he might bring up points to talk about. I've seen him having back and forth with Destiny, but Pearl doesn't have a foot in that field. She just wants to be in that area because that's where the viewership is right now. There's nothing wrong with having those conversations, and we've had some very, very touchy conversations on this channel, and I've seen much bigger YouTube channels, Destiny's included, Aber and Preach, even Fresh and Fit, where they have conversations on very polarizing topics. But Pearl doesn't have those conversations because she doesn't understand anything surrounding them. She just wants to scream at the top of her voice that someone will cancel her.
Or you either stand by what you say or you don't. You can't go into it half-hearted like that.
She's just trying to drum up controversy because her channel's now pivot into reaction videos. The one thing she was insulting because the whole dating thing is. I mean, how many videos can you do just berating women over the same thing? How many OnlyFans models can you get on to prove to us that OnlyFans models are dumb? Like, it was getting old. So I understand why she's pivoting away from it. It's just I saw people in the comment section of this getting onto Piers Morgan, and I really don't understand because you can have a conversation about something. But if you came on this video and you were like, why can't I say the N-word? And you're just saying the N-word. You're not putting forward any arguments. You're not saying anything constructive. You're not saying anything that I can bounce off. You're just saying, if I say this, I'll get cancelled. Okay. Where are we going with that? I'm confused.
Well, Pearl joins me now, along with the New York author and founder of End Jew Hatred, Brooke Goldstein, over in the States. All right, Pearl, you've come on the show a couple of times, right? We've had some spirited debates about feminism and stuff like that, and I thought you've made some good points, and it's got lots of traction. Then I wake up the other day and I see this thing that's trending involving you doing this song, and I couldn't really believe what I was watching. I didn't know why did you find it funny?
Huh?
Did you find it funny? I mean, you know the backlash to it.
Nah, she is flabbergasted. She's it's like she's having like all kinds of thoughts go through her head right now. Like, she was not ready for this. She was not prepared. She's stuttering. She's like, I
think Piers blindsided her.
Yeah, he has. Look at her.
That's great. Hey, Piers. You got to at least brief people on it. I don't think he briefed her. Unless she needs to go for her shit. You did not tell her.
I mean, you deleted it. You obviously thought you shouldn't have posted it. Why did you do that? Genuine question.
I mean, the point was more about cancel culture and people getting kicked off of social media. If you finish the song, it was more about like, you can't talk about this topic without being canceled by the left and the right. I don't really have a strong opinion either way. It was kind of just like tongue in cheek. I didn't really expect it to get that crazy. It wasn't dedicated to anyone. I don't know why they say that, but that's not true.
You can't say, I don't really have a foot in this race, and then make a song like that. You already know that anti-Semitic viewpoints are quite rampant online. And say what you want about Jewish people, there are going to be some people out there that will go out there and try to harm people because of these things that people think about Jewish people. And making a song like that, where you're not really looking to have a constructive debate, you're just looking for clicks, essentially. You're looking to see how far you can push the envelope, but you're not actually doing anything very provocative or thought-provoking. You're just being outrageous. That's all it is. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do the video. I say do it. We're just allowed to see how stupid you really are. That's all I get from it. I'm not against her posting the video. I'm a bit surprised at what she's come out with. Like, read the room. How long have you been on the internet? Everybody knows not to do that.
Yeah, and if she knows about council culture and things like that, then she would have known that the video was going to spark problems prior to uploading it. She shouldn't have had to upload it, get backlash, and then delete it. Like, she's clever enough to know.
She knows what she's doing. Again, she is gaming the algorithm. Pearl's not stupid in that sense.
She's doing it on purpose, innit?
Yeah, she knows how to draw people to her channel. Problem with that method, I think anyway, is that it's like a sensationalized media where, yeah, people will definitely go and watch her for a time, but again, it will fizzle out because what are we talking about here? All you did was make a stupid song. You didn't put forward arguments that would be strong enough for her to sit here and go, yeah, we shouldn't be cancelled for having these conversations. All you did was make a dumb song. That's it.
It's giving Miranda sings.
Nick Fuentes is a white supremacist. He's a Holocaust denier. He said afterwards that you had dropped a diss track on the Jews, which he clearly took to be something which was, mocking Jewish people. Talking about, I'm not saying Hitler was a good guy, but I want to know why. What do you want to know why?
Well, it was more like, why can't we talk about it? It wasn't like.
Have you talked about the more conspiracy
other.
Theories you've heard about Hitler and the Holocaust, presumably?
I'm a fan of conspiracy theory. Like, people think I'm part of the CIA. There's a whole conspiracy thing online. And, I'm not for like silencing it either way. The point of the song isn't like I really have an opinion on the matter. It's more, I don't think we should ban people off of social media. So far so that I think it should be illegal to ban anybody off of social media unless they're inciting violence. That was the point of the song. I'm not really, it was more like tongue-in-cheek.
But just to be clear, what are the conspiracy theories surrounding Hitler, which you feel the more you hear them, the more you're interested in them?
Well, I don't know because I can't hear them.
Huh?
I don't know
the ones that Nick Fuentes.
Well, I wasn't even talking about Nick. I was thinking of Ye, to be honest. I don't know why they put that.
That's bullshit. You can go online. The whole reason that that there's conspiracies around Jewish people is because you can go online and read them. They're on YouTube. There's entire documentaries about it. Hell, if you don't even want to talk about it on YouTube, you have Rumble. You can go over to Rumble and look at them. They're on Twitter. They're on Instagram. You can find them everywhere. Hitler believed in a lot of different conspiracies. He had a thing about the Jews and wanting to exterminate them because he believed that they were below human. He had a thing about the Fountain of Youth. He had a thing about Antarctica. Like, Hitler believed in a lot of things, and there's a lot of things online that we can talk about them. Yeah, there's some things where they do demonetize your videos. We've been on the receiving end of that sometimes, but you can have those. You've had Nick Fuentes on your podcast, and you've been seen with him multiple times. Nick Fuentes is an open racist, right? He's on YouTube on your show, so I don't know what she's talking about. And I'm very glad that Piers asked her that question because I guarantee you, Pearl don't know jack shit about Hitler. If she goes home, she'll probably open Wikipedia and do a reaction video saying, "Oh, this, and this." But it's like who was it? It was I think it was Destiny. Destiny said that Pearl is very good. No, sorry, it wasn't Destiny. It was Rollo Tomasi. Funnily enough, that said that Pearl is very good at repeating things that she hears.
Yeah.
But if you put her on the spot and you ask her questions, she won't be able to answer them. Just like that. She doesn't actually know what conspiracies Hitler believed in. And if you know anything about Hitler, Hitler was into conspiracies, like big time. He really did believe that there was a fountain of youth. And he did send Nazis out to look for them. He did believe that he could build Nazi super soldiers. Those films where they're poking fun at zombie Nazis and super soldiers, they didn't come out of nowhere. There's a lot of things surrounding Hitler that we could talk about. So that's another video. The point here is that Pearl, put her on the spot. She, as usual, she just talks out of her ass. She only made that video to get eyes on her, not to spark conversation about what we can talk about and what we can't talk about.
Yeah, she's just literally building her like exposure basically, and she knows what's working, so she's just playing on it.
But that sort of stuff fizzles out over time. I also, I don't, say what you want about Andrew Tate, and we do need to like look into those messages that were leaked recently, and we haven't had a chance to do that. But they need to stop calling her the female Andrew Tate, because that is blowing smoke up her ass.
This is the problem. I think that's triggering her to behave more like this as well.
She's not the female Andrew Tate.
No.
She's Pearl Davis. She is a one of a kind stupid. Okay, she's not like anybody else. She's unlike anything I've ever seen before. She's great at repeating things she's heard. Don't get me wrong. She would be an awesome teacher. You know those teachers you get in school, they can't bother to do their job, so they open up a book and they're like, read from section 9, and they just repeat it. That's Pearl. But you close that textbook and you ask her to talk about history, she ain't gonna know left from right.
Nick was the inspiration for that song. I was thinking of Ye.
You are aware of the big backlash to this and the deep upset from the Jewish community.
I certainly am now. I just posted that song and I woke up and I was like, article. I was like, golly.
Right, but are you
This is
sorry?
crazy. I think that, my whole point was that cancel culture is wrong. I am not speaking one way or the other about the issues. My question is, why are we canceled for talking about certain topics?
So you would allow Holocaust deniers to have space on social media to promote Holocaust denial to millions of people? You have 2 million people who subscribe to your YouTube, right? That's a big audience of people.
I'm not at 2 million yet. I'd like to be.
Right, but you have a lot of people that follow you on various social media platforms.
Yeah.
You put a video like that up, and there are going to be some impressionable young minds going, hang on, what's Pearl saying? Adolf Hitler? Not saying he's a good guy, but I want to know why. The more conspiracies theories I hear, the more I have to think about it.
But
I took that to mean that you agree with Fuentes and people like that.
Why did you cut off the end of the song? I said, but we can't even have the conversation.
What is the conversation?
See, I want to make one thing clear here. I don't think that you should be cancelled for Holocaust denial. As crazy as people might think, it falls under free speech. And I think that the important thing is, one, if people are going to post videos where they're denying the Holocaust, they should be forced to leave their comment section open for people to respond to, so that there can be open discussion. They shouldn't just be allowed to exist in an echo chamber. That's just me personally. Secondly, I wouldn't cancel them for saying it. I would just challenge them, because bad ideas get beaten by better ideas. By cancelling them, all you're doing is fueling the next person to come online and say it and to go unchallenged. Now, I don't think that Pearl is ever going to do a live show where she's talking about the Holocaust and denying it, because I bet she doesn't even know what the Holocaust is. Again, she's just repeating things that she's heard. She probably has no idea what the Holocaust is. She has no idea what Jewish people went through in the Second World War. What she's done is she's hung around Nick Fuentes, who is more clued up. She's heard what he has to say. She's seen that people are very against him and gotten cancelled. That looks attractive to her. That works for her marketing and her business. That's what she's attached her name to.
But they do teach you about this stuff in school, though.
They teach you about the Holocaust and its existence and what happened to Jewish people. They don't talk about Holocaust denial.
But this is the first time hearing of that.
Yeah, well, but that's because they don't teach it in school.
No, but I've never heard anybody with that opinion as well.
Oh, of course. There's people online that believe the Holocaust just didn't happen. But
isn't it a fact?
Well, yeah, I mean, those people, the Holocaust happened.
So then how can people be in denial
The
about
conspiracy is that the history that we are taught is a lie, and the Holocaust is one of those lies. And that the conspiracy is that Jewish people run the world, they run the media and the narrative, and they've painted this sob story of their people, that they were persecuted by the Germans and the Nazi party, and that the Holocaust never actually happened. That they were never in those cages, they were never those muddy settings, they were never like killed at random, they weren't taken from their homes. Just complete denial of that happening. I don't believe that personally. I believe the Holocaust did happen.
Mm-hmm.
My problem here is not that Pearl believes the Holocaust didn't happen. My problem here is that she's saying these things, but I don't believe she knows why she's saying them. She's just saying it because when you say Holocaust denial, everyone turns around like, what did you say?
Yeah.
Because it's like if you...
It's clout chasing.
Yeah, if me or you turned around and said the Greek and Turkish war did not occur, and that either Turks are lying or Greeks are lying,
Mm-hmm.
people would look at us and be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can have that conversation with somebody if they come at me with something, but if I just say that and that's it, and I'm just piggying off I don't know, what I heard some random Turkish guy say, and I'm not actually substantiating what he said, which is what Pearl does. Pearl listens to things that more knowledgeable people say and she just repeats them. If you press her on them, she won't know. She might go home and perfectly edit a video with loads of things that her producers have given her, but if you put her on a live stream, she will not be able to answer these questions, which would be fine because putting a lot of people on the spot about very complex situations would fluster them. But she's the one that's making bombastic claims.
Mm-hmm. Well, Piers Morgan's done it instead anyway.
Without being cancelled by the left and the right.
But what
the
is
point is any speech.
No,
I
Pearl,
think
it's not any
speech.
It's not any speech. What is the conversation about Hitler and conspiracy theories and the Holocaust that you want to have?
I don't want to have any conversation. My lane is feminism. That's what
Well, you're singing about Adolf Hitler.
Can I finish?
Yeah, but you are singing about Hitler.
Okay.
So you do want to have that conversation.
I want anybody that wants to speak on social media to be able to speak about what they want to talk about.
Including Holocaust
without
denial.
getting banned. Whatever they want to talk about.
Including Holocaust denial.
If they want to talk about that, as long as they're not inciting violence, I think people...
Of course they're inciting violence. They're inciting a hatred of Jewish people.
Social media is the new town square, right? You used to be able to go and say your opinions in the town square. Now we have corporations censoring what can and cannot be said. And I think that's wrong. I think that should be illegal.
Well, let me bring in Brooke Gert, who's been listening to this.
I'm in agreement with her when she's saying that people should be allowed to have conversations. But I think if you're going to make a song about a very polarizing conversation and then say, it's just to basically say that, oh, we should be allowed to have this conversation, you're using one of the most touchy subjects in recent history as a basis to just drum up anger in people. You didn't put forward any... I can't stand people that do this. It's like, I don't know, I'll use a wacky example. Like if you said to me the dinosaurs didn't exist, and then I say to you, well, why do you think they didn't exist? And then you say to me, well, I can't really say that online. And I also don't know anything about it. I'm just like, well, shut the fuck up then. She said, her lane is feminism and she can barely handle that one.
Brooke, I don't think Pearl quite understands why the wording of this song, which she deleted, to be clear, so obviously realised this had not played out maybe the way she hoped, the offence it's caused to the Jewish community. Why was it so offensive?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on and for highlighting this issue. Not necessarily highlighting Pearl, but highlighting the issue that what you pointed out is that we're really facing a crisis of societal conscience, where someone like Pearl, who engages in hate speech, and actually the irony is she's complaining about being canceled, and yet she's on your platform. She has millions of viewers on the internet and on social media, and she's complaining about being canceled. The crisis is that this is what is profitable now. This clickbait, this type of racial incitement is profitable on the internet. And I'm sitting here, I'm listening to Pearl. I don't know if she's just plain stupid or she's actually quite intelligent and knows that what she's doing is so sensational that it's going to make her a lot of money. But I want to say one thing, Pearl will disappear. She will disappear, like many others before her, because this is something that's just a moment in time. She's like a train wreck. It's like a car crash. You know, for example, you know you shouldn't be looking at it, but you can't take your eyes off it. But I want to make one more point. I think it's so important, especially on this platform. Hatred is taught. Nobody is born like this. And I talk about it a lot in my book about the dangers of hate education. And it's not something that we can debate, that we can engage in a rational argument with. You can see what her opinions are. She thinks women shouldn't vote, women shouldn't have the right to divorce. She thinks that women shouldn't be able to work. She says these
I didn't say
crazy things
now
about,
you're putting words
about
in my
Hitler.
Mouth.
But there's
Now you're
no
putting words in my
rational.
mouth.
Please.
Poe is so annoying. She's so irritating.
Do you know what? This woman said it how it is.
But you know one thing she said, yeah? I think this woman's Jewish. When she said Poe will disappear, I was like, oh man. I don't know if she was saying it in the context of her channel will fizzle out or you just put your foot in it. You messed the wrong community.
I just think this woman it needed to be said. And I think Pearl needed to hear it.
Okay, there's one thing I'll disagree with this woman here. I don't think Pearl is hateful. I think Pearl is a grifter and she knows where to go where the money is and she doesn't care who she steps on to get there.
But that's basically what this woman is saying as well, though.
Well, I wouldn't use the word hate. Hate's a strong word.
No, but she said either she's outright stupid or...
I wouldn't say Pearl's not stupid
or
either.
she's very clever and knows what she's doing by...
Yeah.
You know...
In terms, I mean, Pearl's stupid when it comes to like discussing these topics, but in terms of gaming the algorithm, making money, she knows exactly what she's doing.
That's the point the lady's getting at.
Yeah, I don't. And for people that think that she's hateful, I don't think Pearl's hateful. I just think she's a stupid woman. She's just stupid. She doesn't. Yeah, she's making a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, and her channel is growing, and her views are going up. But this clickbaity content does fizzle out eventually. People. They get onto you and they learn about like, you know, that you're just full of shit basically. You might get the views from people clicking on your video, but how long people are sticking around to watch them and how many people are gonna come back? You know, how many of your subscribers are actually paying attention to what you're doing, going back and checking on your stuff? I mean, there's no real legitimacy behind Pearl. She understands how to get clicks. I will give her that. Do I think she's hateful? No, I don't think she's hateful. I think she is one of the best grifters that we've seen on YouTube.
Don't interrupt. There's no rational argument with someone like this. And this is a mistake that my community makes, the Jewish community, very often, that they think they can bring facts to the table, that they can debate somebody like Pearl and it's, you know, you're going to get somewhere. You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get somewhere only by shedding the light on this type of bigotry to expose someone like her.
Let me just
the crazy person that she is.
All right, bro. Let me go back to Pearl. Pearl, let me just offer you some advice, right? Because I don't think you're stupid. And in the 2 appearances you've made previously on this program, I thought it was interesting. It was controversial.
I think she's scared.
She looks really upset.
I think she's getting flashbacks of saying Pearl will disappear. I'm just shitting myself as well.
In some ways, but actually a lot of people would have agreed with some of the things he was saying. There's no question about that. But you seem to know where the line was. Someone like Nick Fuentes doesn't know where the line is. Someone like Kanye West, who I interviewed after he went on some weird anti-Semitic trope nonsense. Kanye's been wiped out by what he did, or what he said about the Jewish people, because there are certain things where I am absolutely in support of the concept of free speech, right? But you can't go around telling Jewish people the Holocaust didn't happen as Fuentes. And people like Fuentes does say things like that.
Well, that's a bit of a contradiction. One of the consequences of free speech is that people can say stupid shit. And Pearl has a right to go around saying whatever she wants. It's just people have a right to respond. Pearl associates herself with Nick Fuentes, right? She doesn't just appear on podcasts to debate with him. She goes on web chats with him. They seem very buddy-buddy from what I can see. So if people are lumping you in with him, that's your own fault. It's not like when I see Destiny appearing on a podcast with him, they've collaborated before to have actual debates, and it's very clear that Nick Fuentes and Destiny hate each other. It's not done like that. Pearl, it comes across like Pearl really enjoys his company. She doesn't really push back on his talking points, as we saw with the slavery thing when she said it was embellished. And Yeah, I don't think she can be surprised that she's being viewed in this light. I don't think Pearl is a hateful person personally. I just think she's an idiot. But you can't be surprised when people view you in this light.
But I'm not him. So you're bringing me up. So it's like,
no, but when you sing a song,
right,
and you talk about
who
Hitler,
determines what the line is, Pierce?
Well, I'm asking
who determines? Do you get to determine it?
No,
Does she get to determine
I'm asking you to.
Who gets to determine what the line is?
I'm asking you to work out in your head.
I'm saying the
you're not
line-
a stupid person.
the line-
When you say, I'm not saying Hitler was a good guy, but I want to know why. Right? When you talk about the more conspiracy theories about him I hear, the more I'm like, well, that's interesting. I'm just like agog that even now you don't seem to really grasp why singing that and releasing it to millions of people is incredibly offensive to Jewish people.
Okay, so I want to disagree with Piers a little bit there. Releasing content that offends people, I don't have a problem with. You should be allowed to. The problem here is the premise of Pearl's argument. She wants to release something that is going to offend people, fine, but then you don't want to substantiate, and you also want to say, "Oh, I don't know." I'm just saying this because.
Pierce releases a lot of content that offends people.
But if Pearl could have an argument about why we should be having this conversation and why it's something that needs to be brought up with regards to the Holocaust and Jewish people, then I would sit and listen to her. I'm not interested in people's offense. I'm interested in the fact that she is just using something that's polarizing and very touchy to get views, and then not substantiating anything that she's saying. That's the problem here. I am not for her cancellation. I'm not pushing for Pearl to be cancelled. I personally, if she put that song up as a way to draw people in and then started talking about her reasons why, then I'd be like, okay, cool. It's a dirty tactic, but fine, because we can hear what she has to say. She, by her own admission, has no foot in this game and wanted to go down this road, and then had the nerve to say, "Oh, I woke up and there were news articles about me." What planet were you born on? Like, you've got to be some special kind of retarded to not know that was going to happen. You've got almost 2 million subscribers. You've already been in an untold amount of controversies. You didn't think that talking about Jewish people without substantiating your wild claims was going to land you in the news. That's the shit that I don't like. It's not the free speech stuff. It's her pretending like she's got her head in the sand.
I think at the end of the day, Pierce, I don't think it's for you to determine what speech should be allowed and not allowed.
What about you determining? Why did you delete it?
Why did I delete it?
Yeah.
Because it was just a headache, Pierce.
Because you knew it was wrong?
I just think it's like, it's not the hill I'm trying to die on.
Right, but why did you choose that hill to die on?
I didn't choose this hill to die on.
You did. You released the video.
I also released 10 different videos about 10 different other topics that
but they're not
day.
talking about Adolf Hitler, are they?
Are we not allowed to talk about him?
You can talk about Hitler right to the point you say the more conspiracy theories I hear about him.
I think that anyone should be allowed to speak about any conspiracy theory on social media. That is my point. It's not about Hitler. It's not
If
about
you really
the
believe what you
Holocaust.
did wasn't wrong, you wouldn't have deleted it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Don't you think?
This is the point I'm trying to make, is you need to stand by what you say. And it's, I believe what Piers is saying is true, that if you believe strongly that you should be able to discuss conspiracy theories online, then you would have left the video there and you would have stood up for yourself for all of the stuff that was coming in about you.
And I also think that her saying, I just couldn't be bothered to deal with all of the noise that followed it, that's a load of bullshit. Your channel's been around long enough. You have dealt with noise before. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it on TikTok. And I've seen it in your YouTube comment sections. You deal with people making reaction videos like this one. You deal with going on Ethan Klein's podcast and getting basically railroaded by him and then having more reaction videos made of you. But this was too much for you. That is a load of bullshit. And you knew exactly what you were doing when you put that video out. She's just lying. Just own it. That's the problem here. Again, before anyone says it, I don't think Pearl should be cancelled. And I don't think her free speech should be infringed. But I'm sorry, if you're going to come on a show, or if you're going to release a video about a very touchy conspiracy theory, for example, 9/11, if someone turned around and said, those planes never flew into those buildings. As a matter of fact, there was no explosion whatsoever. Nobody died. And then people are like, okay, explain yourself. And you're like, oh, I don't know. I just think people should be allowed to talk about it. Go fuck yourself. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Substantiate what you're saying, and then we can have the conversation. If you're just going to say random dumb shit and then be like, oh, we can't talk about it. It's not that we can't talk about it. Piers asked you about Hitler, and you said you don't know. So do what you said and stay in your lane and stop playing dumb.
I agree with Pearl.
Go on, bro.
If I may just say one thing, as an attorney, I have to say that I do agree with her, that I am a free speech purist. And I think that even bigotry should be able to be spoken in the public sphere. But the problem of cancel culture is not against anti-Jewish speech. I think that's very clear. We see the scourge of anti-Semitism and Jew hatred rising on the internet. The problem is that there's no consequences for it, and the way that private companies
How are there no consequences for it?
Canceling is they're going after pro-Jewish speech. They're going after pro-Israel speech. I can't tell you how many times I'm contacted by people, and often my own clients, who are shut down on social media for saying anything positive about Jewish people, about Judaism, or about Israel. Yet these social media companies are unequally applying their own standards. And, while they're, for example, shutting down COVID deniers, they are allowing Holocaust denial speech. They are allowing people like Pearl to spew her hatred. So if we are really free speech purists, and that's what we are saying that companies should do, they should allow all speech.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, I would just say this to you, Pearl.
Unless it's incitement to immediate violence.
Right, I would say this to you, Pearl.
So we agree.
No, Pearl, I would say this to you in conclusion.
We're all on the same team now.
In conclusion, look, you deleted this, so you clearly felt bad about what you'd put up, or you wouldn't have deleted it. You accept that?
No.
You don't accept it?
I just, it's kind of a headache. I was like, well, it just seems like a lot of headache to me.
Right, or did you realize actually in that moment, from the visceral reaction from the Jewish community, you crossed a line that you yourself should have worked out was there?
Look, at the end of the day, Pierce, the song was about freedom of speech. It wasn't one way or the other. The song was about why can't we have these conversations on social media, and why do I keep getting...
About why Hitler may be a good guy.
And why do I keep seeing people get banned on social media? My point is, I don't think there should be a line unless you're inciting violence.
Here's a line.
Pierce, would we agree on that?
Listen,
yes or no? Yes or no? Will we agree?
Here's my point.
No? Yes?
You haven't answered my question.
Okay.
I'm not saying Hitler was a good guy, but I want to know why. I want to know why what?
We can't have the conversation without being canceled by the left and the right. I just don't understand why you guys added... You guys cut out the end of the song.
Pearl,
you did 75... Okay.
The conversation about whether Hitler was a good guy. You want to have that conversation?
I think that...
He murdered 12 million people,
my whole
including
point,
6 million Jewish people in the Holocaust.
My whole point is we should be able to have that conversation.
But whether he's a good guy?
Yes, because it causes more commotion when you're starting to censor people.
I don't agree.
I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong to censor anybody.
Well, you know what? You can have that conversation. You had that conversation. You posted it. You haven't been cancelled. I've had you on the show because I thought you might, with time, to think about this, regret what you did, because you can clearly, you're not stupid. You do understand the offence it caused. And wanting to have the right to debate whether Hitler's a good guy is just cretinous.
No. I want anybody to be able to speak on any platform. That was the point of the song. All right.
Let's leave it there.
Can I point out a nuance here?
I've got Brooke, I'm sorry. I'm afraid we've run out of time, but thank you for coming on the programme. I greatly appreciate it.
Shut up, bro. We ain't got no more time. I agree with Paul that I think people should be allowed to speak about all manner of crazy things, whether that's flat earth, Hitler being a good guy, I don't even know what the premise of that one would be. Or, I've heard conspiracies that space isn't real and that's just some shit that NASA's put up there. Whatever you want to talk about, right? I think that you should be allowed to. My problem with Pearl, and I'm not saying that she should be cancelled for this, and I'm not saying anybody should be cancelled for this. My problem with her is her pretending like she didn't know this was going to get backlash, and her bringing up something without knowing jack shit about it. You could have just made a whole video saying there's a lot of really interesting topics that I want to dive into, that I want to talk about, but I can't talk. I feel like I can't talk about them on YouTube. And then, go from there. Maybe go to Rumble or something. Or I guess that wouldn't get any clicks. This ridiculous song that you put out without backing up anything you said or anything you're saying or having a point to even bring up. I mean, I don't even know what the premise of Hitler was a good guy. I don't even know where you begin with that one, but I would be very interested to hear. And do you know what? if somebody wants to entertain, if someone wants to give me like a starting point, I would happily host them to talk about it. I would love to hear what they have to say, because that sounds absolutely insane to me. But like I said, I don't have a problem with people having insane viewpoints. I just have a problem with people talking out their ass.
Yeah, I mean, she was sitting there saying the reason why she deleted it is because she couldn't be bothered for the headache. But it's like, you've already put it out now, everybody's already seen it. So whether you take it down or you leave it there, you're still getting headache anyway. So you may as well have just left it there. I just think it's a bit of a cop-out. Yeah,
I don't believe the headache thing anyway. She has some podcasts that have 6 million views. She's had Andrew Tate on. Okay, having Andrew Tate on, whether you're for him or against him, you're going to get a headache from one side of that base, right? You just are. If he's the most popular guy in the world for very polarizing reasons, you're going to get headaches. So even you know, you've done this whole slavery thing. You've been on Ethan's podcast, and you've gotten into back and forth with Andrew Tate, and you've had a fallout with the red pill community. Half your staff have left you. You're not new to controversies, and you're not new to headache. So the fact that this video, some news articles made you take it down and your argument is that I didn't want to deal with the headache, that's BS. You took it down because you knew it was stupid. And probably because if somebody pulls you up on this, you're not going to have anything to say. So then they're going to ask you, why were you talking about Jewish people and the Holocaust and Hitler? Maybe just talk about feminism. Like you said, stay in your lane.